Hello, I think I am live. Just do this extra button up. Hello and welcome to another episode of me. Well, not painting at the moment. We're sat at the computer talking about painting. I've got a few questions already, so I'll dive right in and then we'll talk about creating paintings. I hope my audio is working because sometimes things do not work. So what have we got? JB says, hey JB. Last chat you decided to do more wet on wet and I've enjoyed it a lot. Thanks. I'm glad you're enjoying it. I'm enjoying it actually. I really enjoyed it. I feel like an insurgence of power has entered my brushes and I'm able to paint and paint some more. And I'm videoing it all. Even when I make a mistake, I figure I'll just leave it in because why not? I'm not a perfect painter and I'm going to make mistakes. And I thought, well, I might as well leave it in the video because it's interesting to see how to correct a painting when you make a mess. And I usually turn it around eventually, you know, do pushing and shoving the paint around and hoping that it works. Eventually, it works. Anthony Hamer, hi Jason. Is there any other brand of oil paint out there I could use for the wet on wet other than Bob Ross paints? And do you use a different brand anytime? So really, the thing about the paints for wet on wet is you don't want them to be too thin, and most paints, this is from what I've found, most paints that I've bought have been thick enough for me. I mean, I'm not sponsored on this channel by any company, so I wouldn't like to say any of them is better or any of them is worse, but I know a lot of wet on wet painters, they'll use, well, the old Bob Ross stuff was brilliant. The old stuff. I don't know what it's like now, because in the UK there was issues with that paint. I don't know, it's probably corrected now. And I've had a bit of luck with the Winsor & Newton Winton paint. That's quite thick. I've had a lot of luck with homemade paint because I make it as thick as I can, and that works, but it's a lot of hassle. And if you're itching to do a painting, making your own yellow ochre and titanium white, it can be a bit of a I just want to paint. I don't want to be making paint all the time. I want to use it. So yeah, it all depends. I mean, it just has to be thick. I think if you can get a thick paint, then you can thin it. So if you get a really thick, dry white, you're in business. And if you need that white to be thinner, it's easy to thin. Just chuck a little bit of linseed oil in and it's thinned. The funny thing is about that as well is you don't need paint thinner to thin your paints, because I know when we're watching the old masters like the Bob Ross or the Bill Alexander, they're the old masters in my mind for the wet on wet technique, and they use like a little bit of paint thinner to thin their paint sometimes for speed probably, but you can always use a bit of linseed oil. You can buy little bottles of linseed oil, and not only that, if you buy in paint and you squeeze it out when it's quite thick, then if you want it to be a bit thinner, you can just add a bit of linseed oil in it. And I've bought this is true, I had a tube of cadmium yellow, and it was the thickest paint I've ever ever had. It would barely come out the tube, it was so thick. And I had to chuck a load of oil in it to thin it out, because it was ridiculous. So I think, to be honest, if you can get hold of student paint, not the cheapo stuff, the cheapo, like £1 a tube for these little rubbish tubes, they're going to be thin and rubbish. I mean, you just got to go up to the next level of cheap stuff, and then you get quite good paint. I mean, a lot of the pro painters, professional artists, they're getting paid for their paintings. They use student range paint a lot, and I've seen it on their palettes. Because do you ever watch like artists and you're looking what's on their palette? As soon as they come on, it's like, ooh, what brand are they using? Ooh, what brushes are they? And I know they do. They even recommend it for like underlayers and stuff like that. Let's go back to the comments. I was on a little bit of a rant again. Yeah, Chris King, hello from Florida. I'm working and driving, so I will listen. Hello, Chris King. Thanks for listening. And the answer to your question, what grit sandpaper should I use to knock down thick, dry paint to repurpose a canvas? As a man that's done that a lot, I couldn't tell you what grit it was, though, because I got a packet of sandpaper and it came with a little block. Oh, it was actually for cars. I used it to sand a wing, because I had a wing that kind of got crunched a bit on my car, and I was sanding it and repainting it and stuff, and I used that same stuff to sand a canvas. Use what you've got. Why not? If it works, it works, and it worked. Woo! But I think any sandpaper will do it, won't it? Any, I think. You just want it to be quite coarse. It depends, because it depends what you're going to paint on it afterwards. The only problem is, if you're using a repurposed canvas and you want to do a seascape, but the previous painting you've done is a forest, it's gonna, when you sand it, it's gonna have all these bumps and lumps and stuff in it. And then if you're painting a seascape, you're gonna kind of see it a bit, where you might want it really smooth. But if you're doing another forest, I suppose it doesn't matter. One thing that I do, is another thing that I do actually, is I grab a pair of scissors and I go and take the canvas right off. And then because I got given 8 big rolls of canvas, it was like the best day, free art stuff. And I got these 8 big rolls like this of canvas, and I just I would whip the canvas off. If I'd done like a thick painting, of course, from years ago, I would rip them off, and then I'd put a new canvas on top. You can save your painting that way as well. If you spend a bit of time, you can take the staples out. I wouldn't recommend it. I've done that. Take all the staples out, and then you can roll your old painting up if you want to keep it, and then you can always have it re-stretched if you wanted. I've never wanted, really. An old painting. Some of my old paintings are so awful that I just rip them off and then chuck them in the bin. Give them a good cut though, because you don't want to want them paintings to turn up again. They might turn up on someone's wall. You're like, hang on a minute, I chucked that one out. How did that end up there? Might be someone walking around the tips and pulling all the old canvases and going, oh, I'll re-stretch that and try and flog it. So yeah, Herbert said so. Oh, Herbert said so. Hey, super dude, I'm at work. I just wanted to pop in and say I dig your vids. Well, thank you very much, Herbert said so. Can I use straight linseed oil instead of clear gel or magic clear or whatever? Well, to answer that question, the black canvas with the liquid clear approach, at the moment, I am not using any liquid clear. And personally, I don't feel like I need it because it is a varnish. It's got varnishing and probably has something else that gives off vapors of sorts. I just don't feel like I need it. The liquid clear was there to make it easier for people to scrub the paint on the canvas. I find if I use a little bit more welly and really give it a good scrub when you're scrubbing that paint on, you don't even need to use the liquid clear. So you're saving money. You don't even need to buy it, because if you look at old episodes of Bob Ross, he didn't use liquid clear. He just put paint on the black canvas. It was something that was added, an added product. The old upsell routine, eh? Hey, I've got this black canvas. It's a little dry. You know what you need? You need a little liquid clear to make it a bit slicker. And that way, you'll be able to do your painting 10 times better and quicker and slicker. And it'll be nice and clear for you. So you can do it on white as well. God, it's brilliant. Buy now. And I can understand it. I can understand the use of it because it does make it a bit easier to put the paint on. But I've not really found it that difficult myself, tapping into the paint and putting it on. If your paint is really dry, like really dry, you can use a little bit of a little bit of linseed oil to thin it, but it only needs to be a tiny bit thinner. Tiny weeny bit, as long as you can spread it across your canvas. Honestly, liquid clear is not needed. It's a something I used to use, but it's not something I use now. Let's go to some more questions. Vera Campbell, Homestead. I'm late, but hello, Jason and everybody. Hello, Vera. Welcome. Michael Sullivan. If I think a paint tube will have an excess of oil, I put it out on paper towel or newspaper to drain, and take it off from there to put on the palette. That's a good idea. Good idea. I got told by one of the Bob Ross teachers, Dowell. He said to me to put the tubes stood upright, so the lid's at the bottom, and then the oil will go upwards. It's interesting, isn't it? Do I do that? Am I lazy? Good idea. If you want to do it, it's a good idea. Broke Mofo. Hi, Jason. Hello from the States. Hello. Charles Bishop. Do wet on wet paintings sell as well as traditional ones? They sell just as well. Maybe even a little bit better. When I was doing stalls, craft stalls, they were the ones that would sell. The slick, nice seascapes that I used to do on the black canvas. I used to do miniature ones like this sort of size. They would always sell. The mountains always sold. They do sell. I mean, if you think back to when Bill Alexander, if you're not aware of Bill Alexander, he started a lot of this, and if you think, this is the problem with art, right? This is I've sort of come to this point of the same level of probably when Bill Alexander was 40 years ago from when I've been watching him, or like probably Bob Ross went through the same thing. The time to do a painting is too long to make the money that you can sell your painting at. Meaning, if I went to work, just went to my normal job, and I spent my few hours doing a shift, putting fruit and veg out or potatoes out, right? So I did 6 hours of that, or I did 6 hours of painting this painting for somebody, which is not going to take 6 hours. Probably going to take me, this is traditional painting, 20 hours of painting, maybe 25 hours of painting. And I'm going to traditionally grind out this painting, and I'm only going to get the same money that I would get if I was doing 6 hours working in a supermarket, chucking out fruit and vegetables. So recently, I've had people say, "Oh, can you paint my motorbike?" And I have done a motorbike before, and it did work out really well. But did it take me a few hours? No, it didn't. It took me ages, and I don't want to do it again. If I could knock it out in half an hour, then yeah, I would do it, because I'd be like, "There you go, thank you very much," because it takes so long. It just takes so long, and I don't know how other artists. I know I've said before that I'm the worst business person ever, and I am. I'm terrible at it. But I just haven't worked out how artists can get hundreds and thousands and millions for a painting that they've done. I mean, Clive Powell, the acrylic painter, Clive 5 Art, he sent me a message of a Rothko painting, and it was a great big canvas. It was painted yellow, and it had a blue rectangle on it, and it was like $46 million. And I was like, how can that be worth 46 million? And here's little Jason painting for like 50 hours on this motorbike, and he gets like 50 quid. Which is why I said no thanks. It's a hard one, is that, because I think Bill Alexander went through that as well. That's why, hence all the big brushes, hence all the quicker routines to get things going. And if you do side-by-side comparisons of paintings, like if you get someone that's really good with the wet on wet technique, and they did like a really awesome landscape, and then you get somebody else who's good at traditional painting, and you take those two paintings out there to the public to sell, and ask them, what do you think of that one, and what do you think of that one? This one took half an hour, this one took 20 hours, or say one of them took half an hour, one of them took 20 hours. Which one do you think's the best? And they go, "Oh, I like the half-hour one." Well, they might not, but it's a funny thing. It's a funny thing. It's odd. The whole art game is very odd. It's a little bit on the fixed side of things, I reckon. Especially with this modern art malarkey. I don't say I dislike it, because I like some of the weird art. I don't know why I like it, but sometimes I do. But I don't know. It's a question, isn't it? It's one of those questions. Mike Norton says, "No liquid clear, but is it wet on wet?" Well, it is still. You don't, because you're still putting paint on, because the whole wet on wet system is about using something on the canvas first to get it going quicker. So like, you've either got the liquid white, which goes slop, now it's all wet and slick, that gets it going quick, You can get the blue sky in quick. Or then you've got the liquid clear or the clear varnish or whatever they used to use, and then they chuck the paint on, and that makes it easy to spread. But you could also just put paint on. It's still wet and wet. And to be honest, does any of it really matter? I could put anything on the paint, and I could work it out so that I could put liquid blue on. You could do anything, couldn't you? And then every sky would be the same. But you could do anything. There's no like rules in painting a painting. You've got any kind of, you can do anything. And I think you can get stuck, and I'm trying to like in my videos you'll start to see things, because I'm going to start throwing in things that is not the norm that you would see through a wet on wet technique. Because think of like what wet on wet is Alla prima. It's all done in one go, and the masters did that. I mean, Rembrandt would do stuff like that. A lot of stuff that Bill Alexander thought he worked out, he then found out that Rembrandt was already doing it. So he's, you know, hundreds of years behind. And they also used to use big brushes as well. Anyway, let's carry on with the questions and answers, and then maybe I'll talk a little bit. No, Campbell. Yes, it's still wet on wet because the paint is all wet. Michael Sullivan. Ross also makes white, black, and grey gesso. Of course, I got suckered into a bottle of each. That's hilarious, because so did I. If back when I was buying my first gessos, if they had a red gesso, I'd have probably bought it. I'd be like, oh yes, the red gesso. It's funny that they sell grey gesso. It's buy the black gesso, buy the white gesso. Oh, I could make grey gesso myself. Oh no, they have grey gesso available. I'll buy that as well. What else do they have? Oh, I'll buy that hand barrier stuff. I better put that on. That's got to be good. And then what else? A brush conditioner. I've got that. That is actually really good, the brush conditioner. I don't use the painter's glove anymore because that made my hands feel all weird. But yeah, you do get suckered in. Upselling. I love the old upselling that businesses do. Works though, doesn't it? Buy this, buy that, buy this, buy. If they had like, buy this brush glove. Put your little brush bed. Put your brush in a bed at night. Here's the little brush bed, only $10.99, and everyone would buy one. As used by Barbras, the brush bed. Maybe I should do that. That is a cracking invention. The Jason Bowen brush bed. Yeah. Only I'll do it for more than that. I want to make a huge killing on it. $20.99. Richard Spencer says many artists using the Ross style tend to overuse the bright colors in the sky and the water. I would suggest artists try introducing some greens and browns in the water. Yeah, I think that's a I don't like saying beginner, because I consider myself a beginner still. I don't like to consider myself a master. Well, tell a lie. Actually, when no one's looking, I'm always saying, you're the master, you're the best painter in the world, ah, because you got to build yourself up. But I like to be open as well. I don't like to say that I'm the greatest. Well, I do like to say I'm the greatest, but in my own mind as a beginner painter, I like to be open to ideas and thoughts. And the thing is about the green and the blue that you picked up on is when you first start painting and you get your like the phthalo blue, it's a powerhouse of a blue, and you whack that in the sky, and you got this blue sky, and then you whack that in the water, and you got blue water, and then you use your sap green and you cad yellow, and you make your greeny, yellowy grass, and then things get really bright, and you know, on a really nice day, maybe it does look like that somewhere. Who am I? I live in England. It's all grey. Well, no, it's not really, but yeah. So it is true that does happen. So what you can do is to think about how to dull things, how to dull your colours, or what you're trying to say in the painting, which is a better question that I always have in my own mind now. It's what's important in the painting? Why is it important? How can I make it important? So let's do an example. Spoiler alert, my next painting is a lighthouse. So say my lighthouse painting, which is a masterpiece, I have to say. It is the best painting I've ever seen anybody do on my channel. It's one of those paintings that you do and you stand back and you go, "Oh, that's actually pretty good." Pat myself on the back. But anyway, you'll see when you watch it. You won't see that it's the best painting ever, because I'm sure someone will watch it and go, "Oh, I can paint that better," and they'll paint it better than me. And that's what I hope, actually. I hope people do that. So anyway, while I was painting the lighthouse, all the way through, I'm thinking, the lighthouse is the star of the show. Therefore, nothing can be brighter than the lighthouse, and nothing can take control of the eye other than the lighthouse. So I was painting the whole painting thinking that, and I have to think about what happens when you're painting wet on wet, or when you're painting mainly wet on wet. It's a factor. Is what happens with color mixes. You've got to kind of think ahead all the time. And I was thinking, well, I don't want my yellow to go blue, and I had a bluish sky, and I didn't want my yellow to go green, I should say. So I have to like plan ahead on what colors are underneath. That's the wet on wet challenge, is planning ahead your color on the surface. And that's the big challenge, I think. I don't think that's really mentioned very much. But when you're designing your own paintings, you've got to think about what's below and what you're going to put on top. And the more you think about that, the more complex your painting can become, or the more simple it can become and effective, like my lighthouse painting. Yeah, I'm going to edit that probably tonight and hopefully put it on tomorrow. Hopefully. When I say edit, I just put all the files together and just go from camera to camera, and that's it. Good editing. I think I may have answered that question. Let's keep going. Yeah. So going back to that question, is dulling colours is the easiest way to dull colours is to get a colour wheel, I never use one because I'm so amazing and beyond colour wheels. But I have looked at it, and I know that the opposites. I know the opposites. So you learn the opposites, like red and green. The opposite of green is red. Opposite of red is green. So to dull your red, you can use green. To dull your green, you use red. You mix them together, it comes to a horrible brownie colour. So if you do find yourself like, oh, my green's too green, then you could add a bit of red in it, or like what's said there? Yeah, what Richard Spencer says, you could use a bit of brown in it or a bit of blue in it. I remember when I first did a landscape, one of my very first using acrylics, and I did a painting, and the green was green. It was green, and the sky was blue, and everything was like not mixed colours. I would like get colours straight out of a tube. I didn't know how to colour mix, and I didn't have time to learn it. I can buy tubes of colour with already different colours in it, so why do I need to? That's what I used to think anyway. And I did this painting, and I was like, oh, well, that looks really not natural. So then I did this other painting, and I thought, you know what? I'm going to use nature this time to guide my colours. So I went out, was walking my dog. I was walking beside this river. I used to always walk down this riverside. And there was a nice scene with these trees and everything, and took a picture, looked up, couldn't find my dog. I was like, where's he gone? And he was in the water, so that was all right. That used to happen a lot. And then I took it home, printed it out, painted it, and I was like, those trees are darker than I thought, and they're in the background. That's interesting. So I made them really dark. I got my green, my sap green, put my ultramarine blue in it, and then I put a bit of brown in it. I painted the tree. I was like, oh, well, that looks better. And then I did the same with the grass. I made it a sort of a dull green with a bit of yellow ochre and a bit of brown. Made it all horrible looking. Put it on the painting, and I was like, well, that looks good. So yeah, a little bit of mixing can help, and thinking about what's underneath. Always thinking about that, because if you smeared brown all over the black canvas, then that's automatically going to tint all your colours to a brown, and that can work quite well for like grass. And that would get away with the colours being too bright. But that's something you just get better at. In time, you will be the master of your palette, and you'll be mixing amazing colours, and you'll just be awesome. So how did we get to? Hi, Burak. Is it Burak? Hi, I watch from Turkey. Hello from Turkey. Michael says, Alexander paint is pricey, but I prefer it when I can afford it. Just a small tube now and then. Yeah, I did look to see how much it was actually, and I thought the same. I've never used it, but I did think. Tilda Van Well, hey Jason, hello. Paulus Armstrong, hello from Texas, USA. I've been experimenting with abstracts using liquid white or liquid clear, wet in wet. What are your thoughts? Well, abstract painting is it's interesting. I do find it interesting. This is the weird thing, because everything within a painting has an abstract nature, and abstract can help with your ability to create Let me see if I can think this out. Abstract painting can improve your composition ability. Yes. And it can. It really can. And abstract. Whoa. Someone's put in a rather large amount of thing on the chat. Holy moly. Didn't even sell him a painting. Where do we get to? Hello from Texas, USA. I've been experimenting with it. Oh yeah, we did that one. Yeah, you'll have to send me a Facebook painting. Go on my Facebook and send me a picture that you've done in abstract. It's interesting. That dang Clive is competing and streaming at the same time. Clive Powell is streaming at the same time as me. Is YouTube still on? Two of the worst painters on YouTube streaming at the same time. Hi, Robin Orifice. And that's all right. I'm not very good with names, other than my own name. You can't beat the decent results in much short time with wet and wet. Yes, wet and wet doesn't mandate starting with liquid medium. I want to try walnut oil. Ooh. Yikes. Like Buck Poulsen. I'm not sure about walnut oil. It's not got a very good reputation as a medium. Although that was in this technical art book that I was reading, talking about the effects different oils have. I think it darkens over time, the walnut oil. I'm not 100% sure on that. There was something. Yeah, Michael says Bill brought quick and fun paints to the masses. Yeah, it must have been awesome when Bill Alexander was on PBS, and I've been watching him on YouTube. I find him, I think he's amazing. Tilda Van Well, $5. Thanks very much. Goes towards a new tube of paint. A dude named Brandon Thomas makes and sells other coloured gessos. No way. All the funky round and oval brushes, yep, have to have those. And must make sure to use all his products at least once. Oh no. Right, so all those different brushes, I used to have them. I used to have an oval brush, a round brush, another funny brush, and I used to have them all as well. Upselling. And they upsold me those brushes. And they didn't tell me that I could do it with just the 2-inch and the 1-inch brush anyway. And they made it a little bit easier. Make it a bit easier. Here's a brush that's exactly like a treetop, so you could do treetops. Wow. They suckered me in and I bought one. I actually sold them all. When I was struggling for cash to pay my rent, and I was like, well, I got to sell. Anything that's not bolted down, it's going on eBay. I made sure I kept some brushes and stuff, but I got rid of all those brushes. I never used them. I bought them, I never used them. It's a digital apparition. You've inspired me to do more landscapes. I forgot how fun and relaxing they are. Same. I forgot how fun and relaxing they are. I'm having more fun. This is the truth, actually. This is the actual truth. I'm having more fun now than ever before while I'm painting. I'm having the most fun. I feel like I'm surfing the painting's sea, and I'm on the biggest wave, and I'm surfing along, and I'm just painting and painting, and I can't wait. Once I've done one, I want to do another one, and while I'm doing one, I don't I'm like, oh, how can I spin this out a little longer so I can paint for another half an hour? But I don't want to totally mess the paintings up. You start enjoying yourself, and you're like, oh, I want to do more. I want to do more. Richard Spencer, try wet on wet with a non-subjective abstract. It's very liberating and seems to sell quickly. Someone always loves the colour on a subject. Yeah, I remember when I took some paintings. I had about 6, and I cut one of them up this morning. I didn't like it. Yeah, so I took a load of paintings to this. It was like an open gallery, and a friend of mine was taking paintings as well. And he looked at my paintings, and he was like, "Oof, that seascape's gonna sell." And I was like, "I hope so." and I looked at his, and I was like, "Oh, that one will sell." It was like there was a mountain, but there wasn't quite a mountain. But there was an impression of a mountain, and there was like an impression of a bit of cloud going, whoosh. And then there was like a little bit of colour. There was like this dash of blue, and I thought straight away that's going to sell, even though it's nothing. There was nothing. But I thought that's going to sell. I'm sure of it, and it did. And my seascape sold, and that was a wet on wet seascape, and it's sold in a gallery. So there you go. What's my point? Try wet on wet. Oh yeah, that was it. The abstract. I might do an abstract one. Jason Bowen does an abstract painting. He loses all his subs in one video. Ed Grollimon, new subscriber, curious, what media do you find the best for beginners? Well, I began by using acrylics, and I couldn't get on with them. Personally, I have to say personally, because everyone's experience is different. I couldn't get on with acrylics, but I can paint with acrylics now. But they wouldn't be my choice of media because I'm more of an oil painter. I've always liked the way oils behave, and their oil paints are probably the easiest, even though they seem like they're the hardest. But an old master said to me, if you're going to start doing painting or art, the best thing to use is a pencil and a piece of paper, because it's cheap. You can start doing loads of ideas and all this stuff. And I didn't take any of that advice, even though it was good advice. I just wanted to paint. I wanted to use oil paints, and I think for a beginner, if there was me who can't paint, never painted before, grabbing a canvas, and if I was going to advise another version of me, let's put the idea that I was cloned, and my clone had no memory of painting. Then then he comes in the room, and I'm okay with the idea I've been cloned, and he says to me, Jason, I want to learn how to paint. I would say to him, read loads of books on painting and use these oils. I definitely would say oils. And the thing is with oils, the bonus of oils over acrylics for me is that they dry slower, so you have more time for blending, they are built for blending. I mean, oils, they're built for blending, aren't they? Because you can, and there's things you can add to oils to make them dry slower as well. So you could blend for, you know, ages if you wanted to, but don't overblend. But yeah, for a beginner, I would say use oils. Do like a simple painting as well. I mean, when I say that, some people get really annoyed. Say, "Oh, I don't want to do a simple one." And the reason I started to paint is I wanted to do the Mona Lisa, and then I want to do a Michelangelo, and then I'm probably going to do a Titian or a Rembrandt, and then I'll just knock out a couple of I don't know, maybe a Rubens. I was like, well, yeah, that's fine. But you might want to start by painting something simple first, because you'd start with the simple stuff, like a mountain, like what I'm showing at the moment. They could be painted. A beginner could paint any of those paintings, and you spend a bit of time learning how oils feel and learning how they mix and thinking about light, and it's just a lot to when you first start driving a car though, or if you don't drive a car, the first time you use a remote control. There's all these buttons. What do they do? You learn how to use them all. You know how to turn it off, turn it on, change the channel, change the volume. You can change your picture settings, all this stuff. So all this stuff that you can learn is the same with painting. You learn how your oils behave. You learn how to, oh, if I put a little bit of yellow ochre in this ivory black, do I make sort of a metal colour? That's kind of metal-y. You know, it does actually make that. That's interesting. Wonder how that'll look as a sky. And then you just start doing stuff like that and experimenting. And that is the way. Da, 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 da. Thanks very much to Alla Hajan. Keep the wet and wet videos coming. We're enjoying them. Thanks for the super chat. That's actually blown me away. Julie Drop says, Jason, you've been on a roll these past few weeks. I certainly have. And it's getting hot in this room. It's getting hot in the UK, and in this room, it's getting super hot. So I'm going to open a window for 1 month. Hope you enjoyed the small fish tank introduction. Right. Where did we go? Where did we go? Dead Scream. All you need is some TLC and some vitamin P. What I'm trying to say is let's move on from Dead Scream. Paulus Armstrong. Thanks, you should try a few. Okay, well, I will wait for his weekly broadcast. Michael Sullivan, I guess it's a premiering of a video, not live. I'm just testing both of you. Ah, right. Clive is a premiere on. I don't really get YouTube premieres. I've never done it. I just chuck them on. I suppose the idea is that you can watch the video with the people watching. I don't know. Artgate Sweden. Learning a lot only by looking at yours and other videos here on YouTube. Started looking years ago when you had long hair and I thought you came from Australia. Well, g'day, mate. Artgate Sweden. No, I'm not from Australia. Although a lot of people, even real life, thought I came from Australia when I was in London for a bit working on in the movie biz when I was a film extra. They thought I was from Australia down there, very strange. So I started to put on more of a Yorkshire accent. So then they'll know that I'm not from Australia. Ricky Workman, just recently found you and enjoy your energy and appreciation. And appreciation for your craft and love of nature. Trying to get started with videos myself. Have any suggestions on getting started with videos? Yes. Set your video cameras up and start filming yourself. It's really that simple. It depends what you mean by videos. Is it painting videos? Appreciation. Yeah. Well, whatever it is, it's all about trial. It's a bit like learning to paint. It's the same, learning to make videos. I still haven't got a clue what I'm doing. I just turn 2 cameras on and then hope for the best. Michael Sullivan said he watched Bill around my senior high school year, 1982. My whole family would watch him. I ordered supplies from a small local bookstore to give it a try. Way back then, that made me feel so old. Yeah, it must have been a great time to learn like that, though. It must have been awesome. Richard Spencer says, don't be afraid of colour. There are so many awesome variations of each one. Purple green has shadows, for example. Yeah. Yeah, experimentation is a good thing. Angela Parker says, LOL. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm late. I believe oils are more forgiving for beginners, says it's Paulus Armstrong. Yeah. Yes. It's a really hard question, though, isn't it? Because when I first started painting and I gave up, I used watercolors. I just couldn't do watercolors. I couldn't do it. I couldn't for the life of me do it. I couldn't get my head around the idea. This was when I was trying traditional watercolors, and I couldn't get my head around it at all. And I watched this video of this guy because I went to my local library and I used to rent out videos. And I got this video of this guy doing his watercolor. He painted it so quick. I was like, what? And he sprinkled this stuff on and made the colors sort of change a bit and did all this stuff. And I was like, I can't do this. And then I started watching Frank Clark's Simply Painting videos. I did have a little bit of success with that, actually. A little bit. But I still gave up. You know, when you do a paint, you do like 2 or 3 paintings and you tell yourself, well, I can't do it. I haven't got the gift, have I? I would know if I got the gift. My 3rd painting would have been a masterpiece. I think with painting, you got to give yourself a chance. You got to give yourself a chance, man. You can't just have a go at a couple and then show it to someone and go, what do you think? Have I got it? Have I got it? And you're expecting them to say yes. Oh, I can see it. I can see it. You've got it. You're the next Van Gogh. And I can't even say Van Gogh. You just got to give yourself time. Time to learn. Time to practice. Angela Parker. I may have missed it. Sorry if I did. How long can you leave an oil painting before glazing? Ah, yes. You left me the Facebook question. I forgot to pull up my Facebook. You have covered it. I will watch it back. I haven't covered it yet. How long can you leave an oil painting before glazing? So I'm assuming you mean glazing a different color on. Say it's back 1600s and you're painting a grisaille and then you're doing a glaze of green over the flesh. Why are they using green, you say? That's what they used to use to start it off, and then they would put red on top of that and all sorts of stuff. And whoa, the lights are all out. Yeah, what was I saying? Yeah, and basically you want it to be touch dry because you're glazing oil on top of oil paint. So when your oil paint is touch dry, your next layer has to be oilier than the layer below, and that can go on top. It can go on top just fine, as long as it's touch dry. As long as it doesn't go, you put in your glaze on and it makes the painting go it's fine. Don't ask me how long you have to wait until you varnish your painting though. That question, because it's 6 months to a year. 6 months to a year for oil paint to dry fully to varnish. Amazing. Do you ever have problems with your darks sinking? When I was on this boat and I had all my paints in my pockets, the black fell out of my pocket and sank to the bottom of the no. I don't know why I always think of a weird story. Not really. Trying to think what exactly you mean by sinking. The dark sinking, as in sinking into the painting, sinking as in like visually sinking. I'm not sure, but if it means flattening, then there is a technique called oiling out, where when your painting's dry and some of your colours start fading or whatever, you get some linseed oil and go slop, and then you go, whoa, it's good as new. And the forgers, they use that idea. If their painting looks a bit rubbish, it looks a bit flat, they pretend that they've oiled out, but actually they've just painted it. Do you ever have a problem? Art gates, we love oil, wet and wet, Alla prima. Keep on doing wet and wet paintings, inspire me and others. Will do. Mr. Struthers, producer here. Stop talking and get painting the next masterpiece. Sorry, Mr. Producer. I thought I'd have a break from painting today. Chase Zedlitz. I've tried oil paints. I always return to oils. Keep inspiring us, Jason. Yeah, I've gone across used other stuff. I always like you've got to try stuff, haven't you? Got to try stuff. So I always try stuff, but oils work for me. And there was a point in my artistic life, and all I could think about is, what other materials can do this? Might put a light on actually. It's getting a bit dark in here. Okay, we're back. We're fully lit and looking smooth. So yeah, what was I saying? Yeah, so there was a time when I used to think, I used to look along the horizon, think, what other materials could I get good at? If I could paint with these, maybe I could do it with acrylics. Maybe I could do it with watercolors. Maybe I could do it with gouache. What's this casein paint? Maybe I could do it with that. Marker pens, pencil crayons, charcoals, chalk. I could use everything. I could be the master of everything. And then the problem with that, well, one problem is you got to buy all this stuff. Second problem is, why learn all that when you could become brilliant with one of them? And that was the problem with my mind at one point. I couldn't station it. Like now, I walk in the art shop, zoom, straight to the oil paints, pick up what I need, and zoom, straight out. I don't even look at the other stuff. I'm just not interested anymore. I just love oils. It's my only love. Michael Sullivan makes simple paintings. You can always add it to it later. I agree with that. Angela Parker says yes, that's what Clive did. Joseph Lisha, really appreciate the help you've given me in my own paintings. Thank you. Oh, I'm glad it's helped. It's always good to be helpful. Ricky Workman, yes, painting videos. Richard Spencer says Bill Alexander is as good a philosopher as he was a painter. Yeah, I agree with that. There's some of the things that he says. I think that is information. That's knowledge. That's knowledge. And yeah, it is. Think about, like, I know we're not on the comparing of Bob Ross and Bill Alexander. Bob Ross, Bill Alexander. If you compare the two, they're totally different, aren't they? You get the casual painter that's relaxing, the Bob Ross, and then you have the Bill Alexander who really fires in the paintings and and he's really extreme and stuff, and it's just really entertaining as well. I mean, they're both really entertaining to watch. Like I said, they're the masters, but it's so. I mean, he was Bob Ross's teacher, wasn't he? Bill Alexander. It is really interesting. I can't remember my point. Oh yeah, the philosophy. Yeah, Bill Alexander's great. Paul Jenkinson, learned a lot from watching your videos. Lots of beginner mud soups, but having fun. Thanks. I have made plenty of mud pie paintings. Hang in there. Actually, mud pie paintings, where all the colours are sort of muddy and earthly, well, they're actually not bad. You can make them look pretty good. I mean, going back to Van Gogh. Sorry about my horrible pronunciation. But a lot of his early works, he was using like earth pigments, and he made it look amazing. Mike Norton checking out, as always, very enjoyable. Thanks for watching. Ricky Workman, do you sell your paintings, or have you given more thoughts on your own paints and brushes? I find all of that hard work. I don't think I'll bring out my own paints and brushes. It'd be too much work, wouldn't it? I'd have to imagine how long it would take me to pull out all these hog hairs. I mean, can you imagine the Jason Bowen brand of brushes? It'd be just another set of brushes. I quite like using the Bob Ross ones and the Bill Alexander 2.5. I'm going to have to take this into the other room so I can do paintings with it, because it's been hanging out in here. And it's selling paintings is something that I do time to time. Something I probably should do more of, but I'm more of a painter than a business person. I just like painting. I like painting pictures and designing pictures. really enjoy designing pictures, actually. No final glaze or varnish. No final glaze or varnish. Varnish. I did mention the varnishing is if you have a retouch varnish, you can use it straight away. If you're using normal varnish, then you have to wait 6 months to a year for your painting to be dry. Oh yeah, you did hear me. Yeah, and Angela Parker's hooked on still life at the moment. Yeah, I did go through a still life phase. Now I'm going through a landscape phase, although I'm thinking about doing a still life with the landscape materials. I might even do flowers with them as well. Yeah. Me also painting again tomorrow. Looking forward to see you next episode on painting again. Argate, Sweden. See ya. Yeah, it's going to be a good one. You're going to love it. It's going to be amazing. Joseph Fleischer, what's your favorite brand of paint you use? I've been using the Bob Ross paints, but found them to be very inconsistent in their stiffness. I've heard that rumor. I have heard that rumor. I don't even know where I would get them now. I messaged the Bob Ross company and didn't hear anything, so yeah. Which is a bit annoying if you got them and they're inconsistent in their stiffness, because that's what they're all about, aren't they? I don't know what's happened there with all that. Like I said, I do still use my Bob Ross paints, but they're old ones that I got, and I'm using them. I've got some random Georgian oils that I dip into. I've got some Winton oils that I dip into. I've got my own homemade ones that I make, that I use. If it's a stiff oil, if it's got a bit of thickness, mainly the white. I think the white's the main one, and the brown, the Van Dyke brown, especially if you're doing cabins and stuff. You need that to be a little bit thicker, but yeah. Jose Babylonian. The other artists you look up to besides Bob and Alexander? Yes, Turner and Constable and Munnings. I mentioned Van Gogh already, Vincent. Big fan. I'm a big fan of all of them, actually. When I go into the galleries, which hopefully, when the craziness ends, I'll be able to go in again. I'm just a fan of them all of them. I don't really, I don't like, I suppose, like Turner and Constables is my first two, because I suppose because I think of myself as a gentleman British painter like them, and like Constable, no one understands me. No, I'm just a fan of them all. I really like a lot of painters, a lot. What does Alla prima it is, and that means just all in one go. Is it French? I can't remember. Richard Spencer, I'm rolling in the floor from the remark from the dead scream. That's funny. Michael Sullivan, there's a huge difference in paintings that Bill and Bob did that didn't have to fit within a half-hour program. A lot more detail. They were trying to teach the masses a decent job in that time span. Yeah, it is really hard, actually. If you try setting yourself up and do a painting and time yourself and have a timer going off at 26 minutes and see how far you get. And then you'll find that interesting. What do you prefer, landscapes or seascapes? Ooh, I'm quite partial to a seascape. But I like doing both. It's just for some reason I really like doing seascapes. I just really enjoy them. But I really enjoyed my forest painting with a little cabin. So I haven't really got a favourite, but I do like seascapes. Maybe the edge, because I do a lot of them, don't I? I do think, oh, I'll do a seascape. How can I do another seascape? I'll add a boat in it. Yes. Well, it'd be a bit boring if all I did was mountains, though, wouldn't it? Because there's only so many mountain paintings you can do without you going, mountain again. I hate mountains. They were there when I first started. I couldn't do mountains at all. I couldn't do them. So I enjoy doing them. What do you prefer, landscape or seascape? Thanks for answering my question. Alexander Winton Grumbarsha Gamblin have the firmest paints. There you go. Maggie Tattersfield says, sorry Jason, I also forgot what you recommended for keeping your brushes in good shape. Yeah, well, so the last round of cleaning I used vegetable oil on its own in a little pot. Then I had fairy liquid or other soaps, no sponsorships, other washing up liquids in another pot. And then, so I dipped my brush in the vegetable oil, scraped it a bit, got rid of most of the paint, massaged my brush in some fairy liquid, rinsed that out, and then I got a little bit of the Bob Ross brush conditioner after the brush dried and went and left it, and it's fantastic. And I also, when I can't be asked to wash the brushes, I've got this jar with oil, cold pressed linseed oil, and I put some oil of cloves in it, and I dip my brush in it and put it on my tray, and then I just leave it, and then the next day I just wipe the paint, and it's fine. It doesn't dry. Oil of cloves prevents it from drying or oxidizing. Robert McDonough watching from Darwin, Australia. I really enjoy your videos, love the paintings, I really enjoy your fun personality. Thanks for watching, Robert. All the way down under. G'day, mate. Michael Sullivan. It should be easier to get the Ross in UK now. They left Weber in the US for a UK manufacturer. Yes, there is the problem. They left Weber, who made the paint really well, and the UK manufacturer, from what I was told, made a real hash of it. And I think they had to work with the Bob Ross company to make them better. Whether they made them better or not, I don't know. But I can tell you, in the art shops around where I live, there is no Bob Ross stuff in there anymore. That's a funny name. The Canalab. Thanks for teaching me so much. Well, thank you for watching. Love your seascapes, Jason. From Jose Baglioni and Simon Bartram. Any more portraits on the way? I have an idea. Whether it actually happens, I don't know. I want to do a wet on wet portrait, because I know it's possible because I've done one before. I used a canvas, a black canvas, and I did a portrait on it using the wet and wet technique. I did do it. I did, honestly. I love that our dish soap is UK washing up soap. Well, that's what they call it in America. Dish soap. Washing dish soap. Over here it's washing up soap. Jose, no more videos with Mr. Producer, the mysterious person to the other side of the telephone. No, he's not been ringing recently. I'm assuming I'm doing very well. It was a bit of a gag. It might happen again. You never know. I do come up with some strange ideas at times. So, to conclude this episode, as I've been going on for 1 hour and 15 minutes and 1 hour and 16 minutes now, I would like to say, if you're creating paintings, because I've not really even talked about this much, have I? Creating paintings is a real challenge, but if you're open to ideas and changes, then it becomes a lot easier. So when I'm doing my paintings, I might not do it the way I was going to do it, and I start seeing things, and you're like, oh, I could put a tree there, and you just put a tree in there, and then you start going, oh, well, I could have water. Just put the water in, see what happens. And you can be really open to it all and change everything, do all kinds of things, and you don't have to be strict with the painting. And to be honest, the strictness, that's what stops you from being creative. Anyway, let's have a look. There's a few more little comments, and then we'll wrap this bad boy up and post it on YouTube and let people watch it that aren't watching it live, and they can watch it in their own leisurely time. No more videos. I struggle with mountains and distant hills. They look purple. What colors do you use? Depending on your sky. If your sky color is blue, your distant mountains are going to be blue. If your sky color is yellow, your distant mountains are going to be a deeper yellow, darker, duller. You've got to always think about your sky color, and then use some of your sky color and something else to make your distant mountains. Jose Rao, thanks for answering. Thank you. Thank you, Angela Parker. Michael Silver. Weber is making the liquid white still under their own brand. Not sure if they'll make similar paints and consistencies. Yeah, I've got a bag of liquid white because when I used to teach classes, I bought loads of cans of it. So I've been burning through that. When it runs out, what am I going to do? I'm going to have to start making liquid white. Vera Campbell, our homestead. Thank you, Jason. It's been so much fun. Richard Spencer would love to see your rendition of the Seven Sisters chalk cliffs. I'll have to find out what they are. Sounds good. Yeah, thanks for the questions. You make these episodes what they are, really, because otherwise it'd be just me making up questions and answering my own questions. So thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you in another video. Don't forget, the Lighthouse video coming very soon, probably tomorrow. Bye for now. Cheers.